How's it going, my truant people? DrSlaking, the Slacking Doctor, back with week 8, I believe, of the NPL Minors League. And this week we're going up against Pesky Skitty and their Ottowa Garchomps. Maybe? I think that's right. I think that's correct. Shout at me in the comment section if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure that's correct. And going into this week, I believe our current record is 3-4. That will be on the layout, so you guys will know it anyway. But I believe it's 3-4. So this week we are trying to break even, go back to 4-4. Obviously, a couple of our defeats have been because of me overplaying, over-predicting, things like that. So really want to try and get my groove back and put some wins up on the board for the rest of this season. Now, I should comment on last week because there wasn't a battle uploaded last week, if you're wondering where that was. That was because me and Excellent Name was supposed to play, who was dropping from the league, I believe. I didn't know that at the time. I messaged them at the beginning of the week saying, hey, when do you want to play? I was then busy for the rest of the week. Didn't hear back from them because they were then busy. Didn't chase it up because I was busy. And so basically we just didn't manage to get the game played. I believe we have been awarded the forfeit win, but that isn't 100% confirmed yet because I did reach out to them at the beginning of the week and never heard back. But I will certainly hold my hands up and admit that I should have done more to follow that up, to chase it up. So that's the story for you there, but that means that we are currently sitting at a record of 3-4, assuming we are given a forfeit win for that game, which I believe we're going to be. But regardless, we are in a pretty tough division. Like, if we were in the other division, we would have a good shot at playoffs, still a very good shot at playoffs. But in our division, we basically need to win out to make playoffs, pretty much. So for the rest of the season, what I want to do is I just want to stop over-predicting. I want to stop thinking too much. I just want to click buttons and watch things die, because that's what this draft was supposed to do in the first place. So that's pretty much what we're going to do this week. We have a substitute Medicham, because they definitely have good switches to Medicham in things like the Bulu and the Marowak. And even the Zam to some extent, being able to outspeeders and shadow ballers and stuff. However, because they have good switches, that means I think I can force switches pretty often and get a sub up. So that's pretty nice. With the Ice Punch, High Jump Kick, and Zen Headbutt that we have, we can hit pretty much the whole team pretty nicely. So that's really cool. Then we have Chopool, Pursuit, T-Tar. This is like my actual team from the ladder that I based this draft on, because I was running Chopool Tar with Mega Medicham to Pursuit Trap exactly this thing here, Mega Alakazam. So this is very much felt in my comfort zone here with this. I believe we also have rocks on this tar. Then we have Z Hurricane Torn, because we did make a transaction prior to last week where we made Torn a Z user over Excadrill. Obviously, it was something that was said by a lot of people at the beginning of the season, that Z Drill was a waste and I should have had Z Volcarona or Z Torn. As the season's gone on, I've come around to agree with them. So I'll be the first to hold my hands up and say, yeah, I think I got that one wrong. I think I prefer Z Torn. So we now have Z Torn. We have Archeops coming for its first game this season. We have a Sash, Rocks, and Endeavor set. Basically, just supposed to get Rocks up turn 1 so that we can make this game as offensive as possible. Just click buttons and click kills. Then we have a Piappa Berry Amoonguss designed to take on the Bulu, which if it's offensive should have Zen Headbutt, and if it's not offensive can't really do anything to me anyway, because it can't Toxic or Leech Seed me. So we pretty much have like one of the best Bulu checks there is outside of Zen Headbutt. And like I say, with the Piappa Berry, we check that as well. So. And last up, we have Sandrush Drill. If we get Sand up with Tar in the late game, Drill is really, really nice. It is SD, Life Orb, 3 attacks, so this thing's just supposed to go ham at the end of the game. I didn't expect to see the Vullaby and the Rotom, so that definitely made my Archeops a little bit less useful. I thought just the Rotom would come, but it makes sense that Vullaby might come as an additional check to Medicham, so definitely Medicham's got some things to kind of break through here. Regardless, we're going to lead off with Archeops because that's all this set is really here for. Although my opponent doesn't have the best rocker, as Marowak is the only potential rocker on the team, I still just want to get my hazards up as early as possible and then potentially endeavor some things. So we are going to go for the rocks as they Volt Switch out, revealing that they're not Scarf Rotom, and going out into Mega Alakazam. I am actually going to save Archeops now because it still outspeeds a lot of things on my opponent's team and can endeavor them down. So instead I'm going to go to Barney, get Stand Up and chew this Shadow Ball. Now, unfortunately, my opponent gets Spadef Drop, and now the Focus Blast is a roll to kill even through the Chopool Berry, and I don't think that's worth the risk. Yes, they could miss it. Yes, they could not get the roll, but I don't need Archeops. At the end of the day, yes, Endeavor's pretty nice, but it's not essential. They do have things like Grassy Terrain and stuff to slowly get recovery on their team anyway, so something like, I don't know, like a Leech Seed Bulu could be obnoxious or whatever, I don't know. So I'm just like, okay, we'll just recycle, get Barney back here without the Spadef Drop. That way we definitely take the Focus Blast, and we can Pursuit Trap them. Obviously, they stay in and just roll Focus Blast, which is a perfectly fine play, and that's fine by me because I get enough chip where basically at this point with the Sand Chip and everything else, they can't come back in on rocks particularly easily, and the rest of my team is going to be able to handle them pretty easily. They don't know that I don't have priority on Medicham, so they should expect priority on Medicham for one thing. So I'm like, yeah, this is fine. Like, that's put them low enough where I'm okay. I don't need to crunch there or whatever. They actually then overpredict to go for the Shadow Ball, where I kind of felt like this might be the case, because they don't want to Focus Blast, me go into Medicham, take nothing, and then fake out to kill them, right? So I did think this was highly possible that they could Shadow Ball, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like I need Sand to win this game, as weird as that sounds, because I have a Sand Rush Drill. I feel like Taunt plus Medi just goes in against my opponent, so I'm happy to let Barney go down here, or if they overpredict, I'm happy to keep Barney, and they do overpredict, so I'm like, that's fine. Like I say, I understand completely why they made that play, because they don't want me to just bring in Medicham, fake out, whatever, with the Sand Chipper stuff, so I get it. Here, I know Vullaby's going to defog on me, which sucks, but it isn't the end of the world, because I can Stone Edge and put this Vullaby really, really low. So I'm like, yeah, I did get my rocks up early, and now I've lost them, but I've lost them in exchange for a lot of chip on this Vullaby. Like, the Vullaby's nearly dead, so knowing that it can just roost up here, even though it's got the defense drop, it's never going to get too healthy, I'd rather just get Taunt in for free, because what that lets me do is that lets me click U-turn on the incoming Rotom, which was always going to be a switch into a Tornadus, and gets me Mac in. So I'm kind of thinking a little bit ahead here, where basically, like, in this turn, yeah, I can keep spamming Stone Edge. We might miss, but we are going to keep dropping the defense with the weak armor. Eventually, we will just KO this thing, right? And then they have to switch into Stone Edge. But actually, they can switch into Stone Edge. Bulu can come in, get his Grassy Terrain and stuff. Rotom can come in and scare me out. So rather than kind of just spamming it until I either miss or something else comes in, I can actually use this opportunity on them roosting to really pivot with my team to get Medicham in. So that's the kind of idea here. We go out Skyward. Like I say, this is... The only thing you can switch in on the Z Tornadus here is the Rotom, so that's like guaranteed that we get to have a U-turn. Like, they can't risk me knocking off their Vullaby or whatever, for example, so or even just straight up killing with like Z Hurricane. So now we get a Medicham. I see that this thing's leftovers. Obviously, we already know it's not Scarf, so I'm just going to go for the sub here, because they're either going to switch or potentially protect. Like, they don't just let me high jump kick this thing and let it go down, because otherwise Torn just rips their team apart, right? They then don't have any switch into Hurricane. So with that in mind, I know I'm going to get a sub up, and now I can just Zen in case they go for like the double protect or some shenanigans like that. I don't want to mess around, so I'm just going to go for the Zen and get like 80 or 75% off on that Rotom, which is amazing, because again, now they don't have a Hurricane switch in, so if I can land a Hurricane, something's dying, and if you go for Z Hurricane, everything's dying, so like, we're in a good spot. Here I'm just going to pivot out into Strumpf on the Bulu. There's no reason not to. We're going to get Grassy Terrain back as they are. As I say, if they end up going for the Zen, we have Sludge Bomb to KO them. We have the Pineapple Berry to take that Sludge Bomb, so it's fine. But we're actually going to double into Mega Jam, because I'm pretty sure they have to go Kyurem-Black here, right? Looking at the team, they don't want to stay in and get a Sludge Bomb. They've seen that I haven't got Black Sludge on my Amoonguss. I've revealed that my item isn't Black Sludge or Leftovers or anything like that. Not Rocky Helmet either, so it kind of screams a Resist Berry on an Amoonguss like White. You wouldn't want like Aya Papa Berry or something like that, because you have Regen, so it kind of screams a Resist Berry. And it's not going to be like Specs or something like that, unlikely with Amoonguss, especially as they would have seen that I'm a physically defensive spread. So at that point, I'm like, okay, they have to pivot into something to give them offensive momentum. It could be Marowak, admittedly, because it does take resisted damage from Sludge Bomb. But I don't fear Marowak as much, because I can just sack Barney to it or whatever, and then get Drill in under the sand and go crazy. So I fear the Kyurem a lot more, because whilst I can get Drill in the sand the same, it doesn't quite do as much damage and stuff, so Kyurem being quite bulky. So I was like, okay, better play is just go to Medicham, and we can force a KO if they go Kyurem. And that's exactly what happens. So here I'm just going to click High Jump Kick, because I don't think they're going to go hard into Marowak, because they can't give me a free sub. If they give me a free sub, it's looking real bad for them. So instead I'm just going to Raw High Jump Kick. If it was Scarf Kyurem, it was Scarf Kyurem, but we had to find out one way or another. In fact, I think we might have already seen from the... Did we see from Grassy Terrain? No, because it hadn't taken any shit. I was going to say we might have already seen from the Grassy Terrain, but we hadn't. Here the Marowak does come in, and like I say, I can just sack Tar here. They actually go for Rocks, so this gives me a free pursuit, which is really, really nice. I understand the Rocks play, they want to try and get chip on Torn and stuff, and stop me having all these sort of free switches and stuff, but this gives me a free pursuit, so knowing that they really need to save this thing, because otherwise High Jump Kick really goes in, I'm pretty secure knowing that I can pursue here. And actually we're going to get some Grassy Terrain recovery back here on Barney as well, so Barney's going to be able to take another round of Rocks and stuff, and is looking pretty good for us to get Sand up again if we want it. Here I'm just going to pivot back into Strumpf. They can't really roll Zen Headbutt on my Tyranitar that easily. I do have Ice Fang on it if I ever wanted to click that, but I think they're just going to go for the safe play and go for the Horn Leech. Here I'm going to Sludge Bomb again. Oh, here I'm going to Sludge Bomb, sorry, rather than double this time, because I've already doubled once, and the Marowak is so low now that it, like you see there, it doesn't come in on Sludge Bomb all that easily. Yes, it's getting lefties and grassy terrain, which is interesting actually that it isn't a thick club set, that it's a leftover set, so it's not too strong, but it's still strong enough to scare my team, but it doesn't come in for free. That's the point on the Sludge Bomb. So we're able to just sack off T-Tar here, and I know that sounds weird because it's like, well, where's your sand gone? But I really don't feel like I need sand. With Torn, looking at my opponent's team, with the Rotom solo, the Vullaby chipped, I'm just like, wow, my Medicham plus my Torn just wins this game straight up. So here I knock off into the Marowak. We know that it's got not Z or anything because we've seen the leftovers. Plus Z or Marowak isn't really a thing, but regardless. So we know that's going to KO, and we know that if they go into the Vullaby honors, we would have knocked off that thing to Violite, and if they went into Rotom-Wash, we would have KO'd that thing like we did. So here they go into Vullaby. I'm going too far back. Okay, so that's why we made that play. Sorry, I'm trying to like explain it while keeping it rolling, and I'm not doing a great job. But yeah, here they're going to Vullaby, and I'm just going to go for the Z Hurricane, because basically the way I look at it is like, okay, if they pivot into Marowak to bait the Z, that's fine. We're still going to KO Marowak. I don't really mind. If they stay in, we're going to KO Vullaby, and if they go into Bulu, we're going to KO that. So it's just a no drawback play where I basically definitely get a KO, and I don't have to run any weird risks of like getting, I don't know, Toxic Roost by Vullaby. I don't know, some weird shenanigans if I miss Hurricanes and stuff. So we are just going to pop our Z there, and we're just going to Raw Hurricane into the Bulu as they pivot back out into the Vullaby. I'm guessing they were trying to bluff Scarf there. And even if they were Scarf, they would have had to Scarf into Stone Edge, which then can't hurt Medicham. So if they Scarf into Stone Edge, they kill my Tornadus. They might have been Scarf, I really don't know. But if they had, at this point, of course. But like I say, if they had Scarfed into Stone Edge, then Medicham comes in and gets like a free sub, and at that point, it's pretty much GG. So I wasn't too worried. There was nothing they were ever really going to be able to lock into that could beat Amoonguss and everything else on my team. So with that in mind, I'm just going to fire off the Hurricane here and actually miss as they are able to roost up on their Vullaby. Now, I actually had Taunt on this set, and there I should have taunted, but I forgot I had it. I just clicked fast. I just clicked Hurricane fast and was like, ah, crap, I should have taunted. Now I genuinely could struggle to break this Vullaby if I don't know, if I miss a ton of Hurricanes and Rock Slides and whatever else. So, high jump kicks and stuff. So it's a little bit obnoxious, but we're just going to keep Hurricaning until they basically attack, which they do here with knockoff. So I'm like, okay, this thing's really not going to beat my whole team. But regardless, now I can taunt knowing that 52% they're more than likely going to go for the roost. So we do manage to taunt them there, and now we can Hurricane land. And from that point onwards, we were always going to break this Vullaby at some point. They go for the Brave Bird, and they die to their own recoil. So Skywest doesn't get the KO, I don't think. I don't know how that's attributed, but that's sad if it doesn't. Bulu comes back out. And here I'm just going to pivot hard into Amoonguss. In case it is like Scarf, Stone Edge, whatever, I might as well save the differential. It might come in useful because we are trying to reach playoffs, of course, with not the best record in the world. So we're going to get a little bit aggressive terrain. They do go straight for the Zen and pop my Piappa Berry, but regardless, we take 2 and we can just Sludge Bomb. I still don't know if this thing was Scarf, like I say. I'm guessing it probably was, but it was fairly easy to play around when I had the ones I had left. Even Excadrill as well, if it had Scarfed into Stone Edge or Zen Head, but it resists both, so we would have been fine. And that is going to be the game. That was a bit of a weird commentary, I apologise. A little bit out of practice, it's been a couple of weeks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a really, really good game, and GG to my opponent, Pesky Skitty, of course. We are now 4-4, which is really nice. It does feel a bit weird that one of those is a forfeit win, but I guess it just can't be helped. That's how it goes sometimes. So we are now currently sitting at 4-4, I believe. Going into the last 2 weeks, like I say, I still think we have to win out regardless to make it. And we play Bash next week, who, if you guys followed me in the NPL tryout tournament, you will remember Bash. We just narrowly lost to him in what was a fantastic game in that tournament, where his Komodo, I think, lived on like 1%. And just beat me down. It was an amazing game, and Bash has become a good friend of mine since. So that's going to be a really, really exciting battle for you guys to check out. And then in the final week, I believe we play Mega Oshawott, who I don't know too much about. I believe that's correct. But I gather is a good battler. So it's a long shot for us to make playoffs at this point. Like I say, to beat 2 of the better battlers, I believe, in our division is going to be very, very difficult. But who knows? If we just keep clicking buttons and not overthinking things, we'll find out what happens, won't we? We've got a chance, I guess. So thank you so much for loafing around with me, guys. And I'll catch you again next time.